Om.
Oh.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Kundalini Hour with this evening, Tim Rustow and Daniella Zylberszajn. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And we're really excited to have Daniella on. This is the first time I am meeting Daniella. Tim knows Daniella. And so I'm going to have you introduce her.
Great. So, well, Kai and I have like a Shakti, psychic, parallel, synchronous embodiment, something going on, like very deep since Kai and I met 4 years ago. And I'm also experiencing something very similar with Daniella. So my other person in my world who's like, we experience the same things at the same time and we can trade insights with each other, etc. Besides you, Kai, is Daniella. And so happy that you two can meet now, because I'm sure that if that, it's like the triangle completes, And so Daniella and I met about, I don't know, I guess a year ago. And we started, we've never even met in person. We met on a group we're a part of online. And then we started chatting and meditating together. And yeah, it's all very aligned. So
You're destined to find each other.
We're all destined to be on this show now together.
Yes. Because Alan wasn't, well, Alan might jump on at some point. He's traveling up in northern Maine, I think. So, So wonderful. So Daniella, would you like to share a little bit about your journey? So this show is particularly about Kundalini awakening. And we really started it for information to be put out about the Kundalini energy, because many people are having spontaneous awakenings right now. And a lot of people don't know what's happening. So for me personally, I was really lucky because I was in an ashram that was specifically geared toward awakening the Kundalini. So I knew exactly what was happening. And it was easy that way. But a lot of people aren't so lucky. So we're doing this show to inform people about the Kundalini, what's happening, and have different people share their experiences, because everybody's experience is so different. So,
Yeah.
So would you like to share about your personal awakening?
Yeah. First of all, thank you for the invitation, for being here with you. And I've heard a lot about you. Tim shared some videos, and I know you not personally, but now I'm very honored and happy to be here. Second, sorry about my English because it's not so fluid nowadays, but I think maybe I can make myself understandable.
I've been understanding you so far. I think it's great.
Okay. And
she's living in Brazil. She's Brazilian, and she's speaking Brazilian Portuguese.
Yes, which is very different from English. And lately I haven't been practicing so much the speaking in English. So anyway, as I everything, like, because how I feel before the awakening is already happening, no? And in other proportions, I can say. And then when it happened for me, it was completely understandable for what was happening, because she told me it's Kundalini. She started to speak with me because I was in a shamanic ceremony. And
were you taking plant medicines, or was it?
Yes, I took, but it didn't really, the ayahuasca, I think it was very weak for me. I took like 3-4 times, but only, visions, nothing like nothing wow. Then happened that, how is the name? With the tree and tobacco, mix it. You put it on the nose, you know, like, I forgot the name.
I don't know. Do you know?
Rapé, yeah. Yeah. And then I had, when this happened, I now experienced the rapé. It was literally mind blowing, like my exploded, and I went to the beginning of everything, like the Big Bang. It was this experience. So I was nothing, I was everything. I saw all the elements, everything since the creation. I was completely aware of everything. Was mind blowing, was devastating, this experience. And for a moment I saw, whoa, I'm fucked now. I am fucked now because everything now is changed. And then I remember very clear. Then I seated on the floor, closed my eyes, and then from the top of my head descend the grace, and I felt this coming down, and then she started to coming up through my sushumna, and I like my ego, Daniella, was like, what is it? And she started to say, I am Kundalini. And I said, no, you might be crazy. And she, oh, I am Kundalini.
Had you heard about? No. Had you heard about Kundalini and thought it might be a scary experience? Is that why you responded?
So, yeah, because I studied yoga. I was in yoga, and when I've learned like about in the books of the teachers speaking about Kundalini, I was really not, because it was for the saints, for the gurus. I am a human. No, for this reason I was doubting. How come with me? I am a ordinary person, no? And then...
And I want to ask one other thing. Tim, would you like to explain the Sushumna? Because she said the Kundalini came down and then rose up the Sushumna, and people might not know what that is.
Yeah, so it's so beautiful. Like it's, well, there's descent of grace, which is sounds like what Daniella experienced, which is the kind of cosmic Shakti descending through the crown chakra. And then at some people's experience, it activates we can say like the earthbound or the personal Kundalini in the bottom of the spine. So it's kind of like, remember me? And it all happens through the central channel, which is Sushumna. And it's an energetic channel that parallels the spine and the subtle body. And that's when people experience like a snake going up the spine. It's not the physical spine. It's this subtle, it's a Sushumna, which parallels the spine.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. So, and then each moment I was like doubting. She came more and more strong, get stronger, until the point I was like laid on the floor, and I became a snake. I was a snake. So my body started to be like moving in the on the close to the fire, the fire. Yes, and I was like for I think 1 hour. I don't know. People told me you stay like 1 hour working, and I was like a snake, and I was what is going on, because I was completely conscious, and then was something completely weird.
Were you self-conscious during this period about how others would perceive your new snake body?
No. I was not perceiving them perceiving me. I don't know no. Yeah. I was like, I didn't see the time, but the people said that I stayed like for 1 hour being a snake and, blessing. They said we were healing, blessing people. And okay. And I was like, and then when everything, the ceremony closed, it finished, and everything was like softer. And I said, I was like, wow, this is not possible. This is not possible. I am dreaming. This is not possible. I saw the beginning. I know. Wow. I was like, what I'm going to do with this? What? For a moment, okay. Then I was not in São Paulo. I was in a retreat. And after some after 2 days, I come back to São Paulo, and then I was being put to meditate. I was not more, I am meditating. I was meditating.
Let's talk about that for a minute, because I think some people don't understand that concept either. Meditating as opposed to being meditated by the Shakti.
Is when, for what can I translate that? It is like you are not doing anything. You are being undone. Like there's no you doing. There is this grace, this remembrance, like coming through you and moving you and blessing you, and it's not you. It's
and
something.
What does it feel like? When
it was ecstatic, because there was not me. Wow, I was finding there's something more than me. Wow, and my mudras started, and I used to think in a person, and I started like feeling the healing. And sometime this person called me, I'm vomiting now. I'm vomiting without knowing. I felt this, this healing potential coming, and I was like amazed, because it was happening something completely essential and completely new. And then I stayed like this, like 1 month by myself without talking with it, because nobody here.
Back in São Paulo, or still in the retreat?
São Paulo. I stayed like 1 or 2 months, like by myself, being put, meditating, doing this kind of, where things, my body moving. And I started to read a little, Kriya, blah, 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 blah. Then I saw a lot of garbage in the internet.
So no more plant medicine. You just took the plant medicine one time?
Twice.
Oh, do you do? Okay.
And then, yes. And then I'm telling the other one. I was like, how is it in English when you are, rapid from the shaman who thought I was being possessed by the devil. I was in.
What she means is that in a shamanic ceremony, if the shaman misunderstood what was happening with her after her Kundalini woke up, and she thought she was possessed by the devil, and wrapped her in ropes and bags and put her aside so she would become unpossessed. So
are you serious?
Shamanic experience is the best ever to a nightmare.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that they would have seen this happen before?
Yeah, I've heard it happen before, and I actually witnessed something like that in a ayahuasca retreat, where a woman was possessed by a dark spirit, and the shaman had to go like lock her into another house, but he didn't.
Okay, so just sorry to break this for a moment. How would one make sure not to hook up with a shaman like that?
I don't know.
I don't know either, man. It's part of their training. Like that's what they think. Like they have this duality, a strong duality, and a lot of them are not that familiar with Kundalini, even though I'm sure many people's Kundalini awakes during shamanic ceremony. So, it's possible to have a shamanic ceremony without plant medicine, and it's possible to have a shamanic ceremony with people who know about Kundalini. So that's what I would say. I would say, first, make sure the shaman is aware that you're having a Kundalini awakening, or even if you don't have a Kundalini awakening, that it could happen, and know something about that. And number two is like, does he do anything like that if something happens? And three is, some people are attracted to plant medicine, and it can serve some good. And for other people, they're so sensitive and so open already that it's not necessary, and it's more of like an unnecessary risk, let's say.
And you and I have seen negative consequences of that. So.
I mean, even the rapé that Daniella talked about is a very powerful medicine, and you don't need like a shaman to do rapé. There are like hundreds of different kinds of rapés. It really clears the head, and you can experiment with that at home without needing to go to a ceremony. So it's the same thing with like a guru, a shaman, any outside force. You got to be really sure what you're stepping into, because you're very vulnerable, and you have to make sure like the friends have been there. You know, you read the reports about it. Maybe you've met the person. You know, it's a very delicate situation.
Yeah. So just, I would say, I would encourage people not to just randomly go to a shaman and do plant medicine without really doing research.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this shaman is one of the most famous in Brazil. It's very, very well known, very serious, very big ceremonies. And when I was in that situation, it was in the second time that
So how long after the first time?
After, 6 months, more or less.
And was it the same shaman as the first time?
Yeah,
Or no?
yeah.
It was. Okay.
Yeah. But the first one was a small group, 12 people, and the other 150 people.
Oh.
It's completely another context. And anyway, the second time, I really feel what was going on. I saw that his mind was identified with, you know, another level of consciousness. I was in, like, Jesus Christ was very close to me in that phase because of the Course in Miracles I told you. And I started to go to a ashram, a community, and they used to study, they used to use the course. So like my symbol, like my ray was Christ. And I was
so nice.
feeling Christ consciousness. And I was in ecstatic bliss, like, and then this guy came to me and wrapped my legs and started to go in my ears, like,
oh my God,
like trying to make me coming back. And what's your name? What is going on? You can everything in the name of God. And I said, I am in the God consciousness now. I am in bliss. Everything is fine. And I was like inside myself, you know, feeling his fear very. And I said, and then in that moment, I felt what Jesus felt on the cross, and the words came, I forgive them, for they don't know what they are doing. And I really, it was very beautiful experience. But after that, I saw that the circle had finished in this kind of experience. So it was so important, but finished. And yes, and then in this period, I was going to this ashram here in Brazil, and it was an American teacher from the lineage, you know, the Course in Miracles, and they used also to study some Indian masters like Aurobindo, and
who was that?
more later,
Aurobindo.
Oh, Aurobindo.
Aurobindo, and Adida lately more, and they used to work with the Kundalini as well. And when after that, my awakening after that first retreat, then after the 2 months I was by myself. One day I received, you need someone to help you because it's too much for you to go by yourself now. And then a friend of mine who was living in this ashram, this community, sent me an email, like the synchronicities of life, because they were opening for the first or second retreat in this ashram. And when I saw A Course in Miracles, because it was my symbol back in time, and the Kundalini, I said, okay, perfect, I have to go there. So I went there, and it was very soothing, very warm, because I recognized myself in 30 people from all over the world. It's an international community. Very few Brazilian people, much more, you know, American, Europeans.
Can I ask what it's called? What is that tradition?
Source Temple. Yeah. And then it was wonderful to have, you know, this circle, because it was, you know, very intense, all the transformation process. And I was living here in São Paulo, in a big city like New York, with a single mother, with a child, paying the bills, working like a yoga teacher, you know, I was done, and then coming to my everyday life to integrate, the expansions, because I started to go to this place on the weekends, wherever I could. And it was getting more and more deep, this connection with this circle and with my awakening. But after 4 years living in this lineage, in this contest, it finished another circle and then cycle. And then I saw myself by myself again. And it was very beautiful because it was devastating for one side. But I went to another place of consciousness, was really, really strong. I feel that I have, yes, I think it was, sorry?
So can we just sorry to interrupt you, but the transition,
yeah.
You find a home, a temporary home, you find people you relate to, you find a teacher maybe who can help you, you feel comfortable, you feel you're understood, and all that. And then, in 4 years to leave, it's, some people, even if they get the message to leave, will stay in that situation their whole lives. So can you talk a little bit about listening to your inner guidance to something that was so supportive then became kind of restrictive? So
I made a video about that this week, actually. That's interesting.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you for asking, because it was like a very important jump that I feel it happened, because otherwise I would still be listening another voice, more advanced, more enlightened, whatever. But like I had a guide, like orientation, like some counseling to do something like, and I was not feeling to keep, this as truth. And I was put in a place that I was like, or I listen to what is completely open and clear, because it's very clear, my connection directly, or I'm going to rely, or give my no to another person, because they say this person is enlightened, or I don't know for what path I go, to that which I feel, or to another person who knows better, or is more awake than me. And I was naturally drawn to the direct path by myself. And it was really, really difficult, because I was like 4 years in this, love family. But when this finished, I was like, I don't know the word, like when you are boom for another place, and in this new place, I saw, I have experiences of void, of nothingness, and everything dissolved, everything black, nothing. I saw nothing.
Was that comforting?
And it was no, it was devastating. After that, devastating. I was like feeling everything completely different. My senses I was like, for a lot of days, like I could feel that it was like a role, a play, clear a play. Not this is a play of conscience, I know, but I feel, but it was, I could almost touch the fabric. It's difficult to explain. And I had a lot of things in my mind happening in my brain, like crackings, and feeling like something happening in my brain, like a reorganization, something in physical level. I started to feel very strong the spiritual heart here in the right side of the chest. And I knew that something new was being revealed. And for the first time, for the first days, maybe 15 days, 20 days, I was almost not, it's difficult to explain. Was a shift, a very strong shift. And that, after this first moment, which was very strange and like a rupture happened. I think the identification with myself, it was completely different, because it was like before there was me experiencing that, or me realizing myself as a spirit. But after this experience, there was not Daniella, the point of view, it was not more through Daniella, but through this consciousness. Like I was this experiencing Daniella, I was this experiencing or expressing a tree, everything. Then I started to feel I was everything for 6 or 7 months, completely in this place. And I started to only see hearts. Every place I look at, I see hearts. Like in every day, everything, I open an onion, I cut, there was a heart inside. I saw a tree, there was a heart. I look into the sky, a heart. And I say, okay, I got it. Everything is love. I am love. There's only love. So I started to live that. And at the same time, my personal life.
A quick question. From the time you decided to leave the source, ashram, how long did you have this rupture? Like how soon after?
4 or 5 months.
Yeah. So it's so beautiful to see, like you trusted your inner guidance to, like it was like you received the nurturing, the nourishment, the grounding, whatever you want to say, from this ashram and this community. And then your inner guidance told you be on your own. And then once we listen to that, then like the next phase becomes even like stronger.
Well, you had that happen also.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's I can relate to it. It's like, wow, when you really like, there's a time where you feel you need guidance and you need support and you need other human beings to nurture you. And then there's a time where you're like, well, I'm just not feeling this anymore. I need to be by myself, even though you might have emotional attachment that makes it difficult. But the minute you break from that and you kind of trust your own connection to source, then the next process really begins.
And that's the biggest thing. And that's part of what my video was about this week.
Right? That's a big part of your journey.
Oh, absolutely. Leaving that was really hard for me. It took me a lot longer than 4 months or whatever. It took me years. And I think that that's an easy trap to fall into, is that the guru, like you were saying, it's the enlightened person. It's this being that's higher than me. They know what's best for me and I need to listen to them. So I commend you on being able to listen to your inner self and going with that.
I also think it's so beautiful, like about the guru business is, you know, some people are, you know, I'm my own guru, I don't need a guru, etc. And from one aspect, it's ego talk, because actually at a certain level, most people could benefit from a guru.
Right.
So you would go to a tennis coach if you wanted to learn tennis. You would go to even star basketball players have basketball coaches. You know, everyone has, you know, if you want to quote unquote achieve something, you go to an expert who's going to help you get there and help you with your jump shot or with your backhand or whatever. But on the other hand, like there comes a time when, you know, it's you and your connection, etc. So it's both that you need a guru, and then at a certain point, you're the guru.
You have to feel the Buddha.
And it's also,
I remember.
It's finding that fine line between when is it good for me and when is it harming me, or when it's holding me back.
And knowing your own ego's game.
Your what?
The ego's games and the words it uses to convince you that, you know, you don't need anyone and I'm going to do it all myself and I'm the best and etc. And then the opposite ego game, which is kind of like, I'm weak, I don't know, this person knows better, who am I? You know, these are both the ego games.
Absolutely. And so how does someone determine? How did you determine, Daniella? How did you know?
What path I should take between
yes,
another
you know it was
voice.
You're cutting out.
Yes.
Your internet seems to be sketchy, but we can hear you enough.
So please repeat your question, please.
How do you like, for you, and if you can recommend to others, how do you know when it's time to follow like your own connection, and when is it time to rely on outside expert?
It's so difficult to answer because it's very individual. But in my case, it was very clear. I could see like two roads, very clear. And then it's a matter of trust. I don't know. It was the same trust or surrender place that I was, like, to want the truth, to want freedom, really. So it's something that pulls you. I don't know. It was not a rational choice. It was like, and there was, of course, a kind of, not attachment, but, you know, this, all the beautiful things that I was experiencing there. But at the same time, I felt this like pulling to, you know, walk by myself. It was stronger than me. I don't know how to speak better or different about it. I felt like it was happening already. I don't know. And discernment, of course, always to have. And I don't know. It's very individual when you get in this place to make a choice. Mm-hmm. And I remember after that, very clear, you come to me like, when you see the Buddha kill the Buddha, it was very clear, and I said, okay, I arrived in this place of the journey to go completely directly from here. And after that, my personal life started to have a lot of challenges, very strong, because after that experience of blackness, of nothing, I felt the second round of the circle, you know, the descending, like the process being more grounded, coming to integration. So all the aspects of my life, of my constellation, like the hidden parts, like the dark parts, were coming to surface. And then I started to feel Kali from nowhere, because
Kali?
Kali, yeah, but not in an intimate relationship. I just felt like this what I'm talking is Kali. But I since I had studied yoga, I was like, I don't know, almost, I don't know, in that moment, a lot of years practicing and teaching, but I was not very drawn to deities. I was like a kind of more minimalistic, you know. Mm-hmm. And then for nothing, I started to say, this is Kali. Then I saw myself in a situation with the in my hand, like feeling, I was like cutting heads.
Did we lose her?
What a moment to lose her.
I know.
Yeah, and I found
we lost you, Daniella, for a moment. We lost you for a minute.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Can you repeat that? So you were Kali, you had the sword, you were cutting heads, and what happened next?
Yeah, I was like feeling that, and I said, whoa, and I started to like enter in this new layers, how can I say, and find love in everything. I found love in the blood. I found love like cutting head. Then I started to realize that love was everything, even the pain, even the blood, even the cutting heads, even the ego. Everything is love. There's nothing apart. I have to integrate this my second awakening, I think. And then
funny that you mentioned that, because I don't know if we ever discussed it, but I had the same experience.
no,
That the cremation ground is the field of love.
no,
And
yeah.
That everything in the cremation ground, the jackals, the hyenas, the dead bodies, the blood.
Why don't you explain about Kali for a moment, in case someone doesn't know about Kali?
Yeah, so it's funny, like Kali, the representation, it's like the most extreme paradox, because if you were in your rational mind to pick like a deity to have a relationship with,
right,
most people would not choose her.
Yeah.
You'd pick a nice boy like Krishna.
right, love.
He's a nice boy. And Kali looks kind of scary, and what's all that blood and all that, death and violent imagery.
I know all of my kids' friends that come over and come into my meditation room are like, does your mom worship the devil?
Yeah, so Indiana Jones, sometimes people relate back to that as like the first movie in like 1984. There was kind of like a scary demonic Kali in the movie.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Popular movies of all time. But it's funny, and then at a certain moment when you make contact with this deity, she starts to reveal herself to you, and that not only is she, it's what I say is like all the blood and gore is like keeps the tourists away, and then once she opens to you and you open to her, that she is love. So it's the extreme paradox.
Yeah. And then I started to feel like there was something about Kali around me, and then I saw, maybe my Kundalini is like in the Kali, mood. And okay, let's embrace that. And I started to read about Kali, and I was like, oh my God, because everything that I was reading, it was what I was living. So I embraced that, and then Tim appeared in my life.
Well, I love this because, like in my ashram, Durga was worshipped, so Kali was a form of Durga, so it was obvious that Kali would come through me. But it's not so obvious for you coming out of A Course in Miracles.
yes, and it was completely, how can I say, completely perfect, because what I was experiencing in my first part of the awakening was only spirit, only light, only love, only, this kind of, the first part of the circle, which is ascending. Then when I start, after this experience of death, of black, of nothing, that I started to experience myself like nothing as everything, then it started to come Kali, and my humanity, it was much more vivid. So I was like feeling the sacred and the profane the same, the beauty and the beast the same, the pain and the joy the same. There was no difference. And I started to read, and like I think I am in this part, descending now and integrating. I started to bring to intellect, because I always been very intuitive. I was not really interested in understand, because I was feeling. But in this integration process, I had to include my intellect. So I started to look for something. It is going on, and then I think he appeared through internet, and he said, I'm building an ashram from and and I say, oh my God. Then one day we were meditating, and I had a Kali awakening.
What do you mean, another Kali awakening? What? But you were already manifesting Kali. Wait, what?
Yeah. I started to embody Kali, really. And
before it was like she had the vision or the sense that Kali was around.
Oh, okay.
We were meditating together, and she started roaring, and her tongue came out and everything. And
I think that tends to happen around you, Tim.
Sorry?
I said I think that tends to happen around you.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I was like, great. And I know what that is, and holding the space for that, because you know, it was just something that was already stirring inside her, and now it was like the transmission, the Shaktipat, the grace was assisting her embodiment, full embodiment of that energy, of that frequency, of that deity. So that's the beginning of bhava.
You know, it's an interesting discussion of why different deities manifest in a physical form. Because like I said, with me, it seemed obvious. I was at the ashram. But people will ask me, well, why do you manifest this one as opposed to that one? And I would say that, I mean, I don't know if you agree, but do you feel that if someone's in, say, I don't know, any other tradition, they would manifest the deity of that tradition? Do you think it's related to past lives, that we've been Kali worshippers in past lives? Do you have an opinion on that?
Yes, I think it can be related. I think the deity will bring you what you have to embody.
Yes.
So in my case, I had to embody my humanity, not the light, the angel. It was known for me. It was like come to the body, blood, and you know, find love in the pain too. I have to integrate. So for this reason, no, Kali is about that too.
I think it's also about like karma and dharma. Yes, like you know, like for you, Kai, you know, you're in a Durga ashram, and you know, you manifest Kali. So it's not, yeah, they're related, but they're not experienced the same way.
But I was also manifesting Christ and Krishna and the others.
But Kali is like your Ishtadevata, your main mistress of ceremony, as I call her. So you know, there's a difference. So the way, yeah, like the Kali journey or embodiment is an expression of your karma and dharma. Like, so whatever got you to this point, and whatever you need in terms of integration and soul fragments and all that, and also like what you're going to be doing in the world. So I know, I suppose, Kai and Daniella, that you have the same experience that I feel, which is that the Kali experience, the Kali embodiment, the Kali bhava, is not just about your individual journey or your individual enlightenment or self-realization. She's very much in the world and expressing through many people. And that expression is not just about, you know, going into a cave in the Himalayas. It's about, yeah, the maternal love, helping other human beings come to the same place that you're in. And it's not you know, but that Kali vibration is here to help the world, and you're a vehicle for this love.
Right.
So it's that's why I think it's manifesting. That's why I think, you know, she's choosing people for her own, you know, the tapestry, the grace. We can't say, you know, cause and effect. We can only say Kali is making herself known and expressing herself through many individuals in order to, for her own reasons, but it seems like very good ones.
But I'm just wondering, if someone's in a Buddhist tradition or someone's in a Christian tradition, if they've never heard of Kali, you know, is there a similar deity in that tradition that would manifest through them with the same energy that really is still the Kali energy? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's everyone who's having an awakening isn't in the yogic tradition.
Yes, I think in Buddhist, similar would be Tara, perhaps the goddess Tara, and in Christian tradition, the Kundalini is Holy Spirit, no, but they don't they don't use like a female, you know, goddess, or but they talk, no, they use the Holy Spirit, which would be the feminine, no.
I personally think that it's not so much the community you're with, but grace. I've seen stories of Muslims who had Christian awakenings, and they have to go deal with that, with very conservative Muslim societies where suddenly they've embodied or met Christ, and then they have to reorganize their lives based on that. So I really think that it's grace predominantly, and that the community you're in or the tradition you follow is secondary.
Yeah, that's an interesting topic. I forget her name, the woman who has that wonderful ashram in Florida. She had long black hair and she was Jewish from New York. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, yeah.
And when she first had her awakening, she went to some yoga class and she demanded that the yoga teacher give her this mantra. And he was in the middle of a yoga class and she wouldn't leave until he gave her the mantra because she wanted to lose weight because her friend had lost weight with this mantra. So she went home, locked herself in her basement and started doing this mantra, and Christ appeared. Jesus appeared to her and she said, "You're in the wrong place," because she was Jewish. So she's Jewish doing a Hindu mantra and Jesus appears to her.
Well,
Very good.
You know what? That's the fast track.
Right.
Because I think we've all had that experience. So just yesterday, John the Baptist was in my meditation.
Oh,
Yeah, it's so beautiful. And it's you at another point, you have to let it all go. And the way I experience it is like Kali is the sun, and all these other emanations are the rays of the sun, not different than the sun, part of the sun, but different frequencies or different aspects of the same thing. So, yeah, it's a party.
it is a party.
Who's gonna come today?
So I want to hear more of your story, Daniella, but I want to say if anybody's on live, you're welcome to ask questions, but you need to ask questions on my channel, which is Kai Shanti, Angel of Light, Channeling God's Love, because Alan's not with us today, so he won't be able to read your questions. So if anybody wants to ask a question of Daniella or any of us, just jump on my channel and get on the live chat.
So Daniella, you were talking about you started to have the physical manifestations of Kali. How was that?
Yeah. I just love when it's beautiful. It's beautiful because it's another, I don't have words to explain, and it is like, it's very intimacy. And the thing, for me, the gift is to see like this embracing this everything, and it's so beautiful. And I had a lot of experiences in the like cremation ground, as you were saying, some meditations, and seeing like all of the ugly creatures, and I found so beautiful and love, and you see like you face the darkness beautifully, and this is for me the most beautiful gift, to embrace everything. I was like, some months ago, I was like in a place very dense in terms of frequency in the center of São Paulo, and there are a lot of people, they are drug addicts, and they use crack. So imagine, they live on the streets, they rob, they, kill people, and they are like on the streets, like devastated, using the drug. And this place is named Cracolândia, and very, very dark place. And I was like close to that place, walking with a friend, and then we crossed very close to this place, and there were a lot of people like, like lay down. And then I was with this friend walking, and I started to feel like all of this, frequency, all of this pain, like the pain of the drug in the world, the collective pain. And Kali came, and I started, while I was walking, I was like, I was like, like spurging all the pain, and I was feeling so much love at the same time, but I was feeling in my body. And I stayed like 2 or 3 days feeling my stomach, all of this, like almost like, here. And it was very visceral experience. So I've been experiencing like the dark viscerally, because it was something that it was part of my karma, my path, to get in very, deep layers. So the beautiful thing is that there is only love. And I'm finding the love as the substratum of all of these layers of consciousness, of humanity. And this is for me the biggest gift, is to find, is to realize myself as this love. There's no difference between the cracky people and Jesus Christ and me. Is the same, but they are only at that moment in the play, playing this role, in this place, and you can feel it physically. So I feel very physically all of these experiences, and at the same time, blissful experiences, ecstasy experiences, much more stronger than before. Before Kali awakening I was always very physical, a lot of dancing movements and kriyas, but now is another quality. It's in another place, yeah. And I feel so much close, so intimate, with this intelligence, which is myself as well. And yes, and I feel it's like the fastest road.
Fast and that's what I was going to say too about the Kali energy.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
About the Dharma and karma, but it's also like Kali, the agoris, the hardcore yogis. These agoris are the ones who are at cremation grounds and like eating dead bodies, and they really want to break down the conditioning of the reality. And they worship Kali. I mean, they look like Shiva devotees on the outside, but reality, they worship Kali. And it's known by the yogis for millennia that Kali is the fast track to liberation, and all those swords and weapons and everything. You want that if that's what it's calling you, because that's the fast track.
Yeah.
It happens in the yogic journey from awakening to enlightenment. In my experience, from what I've read, from other people's experiences, is a very condensed and powerful when Kali arrives. So some people might be scared. They might think, "Oh my God, it's too much for me." But for another perspective, you've won the lottery. It's your lucky day when Kali arrives, because things are going to happen very quickly and intensely for you.
And you need to be really willing to surrender.
Yeah.
Because if you're trying to hold on to your physical life in a certain way, which is exactly what's happening in the world right now, we're being pushed to let go of our physical life in a certain way that we think it needs to be, and just go with the flow, so to speak. Kali is really active right now with this virus.
I feel like the Kali energy is like a revolutionary energy, and so the minute your ego or tries to hold on to something, like it's going to be this way, or this is the way, whatever, something, hold on, then Kali goes to work immediately and shows you, don't hold on to anything, and just hold on to her, really. Like you can always turn to her, her love, her guidance, her nurturing, and everything else is in flux. And we know that from quantum physics. We know that from our experiences. We know that everything is changing, everything is shifting. There is nothing to hold on to. This is just the mind's pattern. But the more you can relax and dissolve into the flow of love, then the more, you know, the more that revolution is succeeding, I'd say.
And we can, and we
Yes.
can take that to the perspective of any energetic awakening that is the Kundalini ultimately brings us to this point, because a lot of people these days are approaching it more from a scientific perspective. Like, you know, I'm very involved in the Dr. Joe Dispenza community, where it's approached from the word Kundalini really isn't even used, so that it's accessible to more people. So approaching it from a more scientific perspective, all of the same principles are applicable. Yes, without the kind of Hindu wrapping. Agreed?
Yeah, it is. And for a certain person and for a certain path and journey, yeah, it's more aligned. But, you know, I personally feel, and I came from more of that background too, you know, like I wasn't seeking some kind of Hindu thing.
Right.
So I have to say that once, you know, from the people I've experienced in my own journey, there's so much love and beauty and grace and spontaneity in that for me, it's more difficult to access from the scientific perspective. Because I was just writing about this the other day, Kai, is that the scientific perspective is built on scientific method, which is doubt. You see, like the whole scientific method is built on doubt. You have to replicate the experiment in identical circumstances how many hundreds of times before your mind believes it's true. So the whole dominant matrix is built on the scientific method, which is doubt. But if you look at the word bedevil, like bedeviled by doubt. So if you look it up in the dictionary, bedevil means literally to be possessed by doubt. It's and this doubt is like corrosive, super corrosive at all levels. That's why it's bedeviled, because it's like you're constantly like of two minds. You're doubting your experiences. You doubt your friends' experiences. You don't trust yourself. You don't trust your own connection. It's literally this corrosive specter haunting you, possessing you. And I feel that I'd rather be possessed by Callie and her love than the scientific method of doubt. You see?
I do. I'm just trying to make it broader for more people to be able to access it.
But it's just so funny because exactly what I was writing about this week was about this science perspective. I think it's super useful because we can relate it to our background and our upbringing and our training and our education. And at another level, we have to know when to leave it. And it's, you know, the scientific method isn't going to prove your Kelly awakening.
Well, that's true. And I think the higher perspective just ultimately leads you to all love. Like Daniella said, it's all love. I mean, it's just, at some point, it's just all love. That's it.
And that's why I think all these traditions, like whatever gets you there, you know, like if you're following the science, you know, Joe Dispenza, or if you're following Padmasambhava in Buddhism, or Christ or Mary Magdalene, or whomever is aligning with you, eventually you're all getting to that place of love. So, you know, everyone's got their own dharma, karma, alignment, interests, pull, and everyone should follow that.
And I think it's so important to remember that that's ultimately what this Kundalini awakening is about. It's not about just having some crazy experiences in the body, or a lot of people relate it to sexuality, very physical bodily experiences. The ultimate goal of the Kundalini awakening is bringing you into oneness with source, with love, with God, with that energy.
Yeah.
So
yes, exactly.
You have more, Daniella?
to talk? No.
Share about your story.
No, I think it's the resume that I made. And yes, and what I feel nowadays, and even more and more, and that I really, when there's a tendency still to find some place to grab, bah, nothing again. So you live as this mystery and not knowing and completely like a baby, like, wow, what comes next? What is coming now? Because you don't know. And she knows, and and this is the beauty, dance. So I see myself more and more like naked and open to whatever comes. And this is a really beautiful gift that everybody is, and it's beautiful to live that awakening and to share and talk about it and be here with you. And I say thank you for your space, and from the people who is watching, from team, thank you. And yes, thank
Kai,
you.
how would you feel about all meditating together? Should we do see what comes through?
Yes,
Add
that sounds great. We'll do a
little mysticism at the end.
What?
Yeah, just so nice that we can. It's like the talking like lays such a beautiful foundation, and for those who are watching, they can experience for themselves what it is that we're pointing towards.
Have a little experience of the energy. Yes. Oh, Rod said Kashi Ashram. That's the ashram I was speaking of in Florida, Majaya.
Majaya,
yeah. Okay. You ready?
Om.
Om.
Vatu Mashawa Dasa Bhakta Om Shakti Ma. Hail Mary, full of grace.
Prakatikata Kaikatiama. Amritia Katiama Kati. Shrikatiama Kali Amakatia Kali. Shrikatiama.
Narete Shava Shiva Shiva Kurono Kurotandarete Shatanda. Sundarete Shatakuro Sunsuratarite Karadanda Arete Shivaya Kuronoko.
Oma Jejema.
Narete Chava Kurono Sunsarate Karite Kriyata Tanda.
Vamakali. Bhakta Om Shakti Ma. Hail Mary, full of grace. I am.
Mehara Makaliya Shava Koronoto. I am Kali. Haranda Kali Shava Korotondoro Kurosivaya Kanamasirata. Aranda Ali Oro Koromosiva. Om Kali.
Prakatia Mikatia Shikatia Maria Marita Ma. Amakatia. Shrikatia Maria Marita Kalia.
By your side, Oma Shrima.
Marakara. Maishiva Kuru no Kuru Shandara Kali Arata Kramasivaya Kuru. Kundara Kariyashava Kuru Soroto Tondoro Kuru Tirata Kramatara Kuru Kundara.
Vamakali. Oma Shrima. One being, one light, I am. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Vakasimikau Kanukano Kanaya Katiko no Kasa Bakta Baya Simakoya Ki Mikana Keo Kotiko no Kaya Kati Baya Mikana Kanate Koya Kanakate Kotatata Tisatama Shamakatayo Kasima Koya Kikanakate Shaktama Om.
Mata.
Om, om, om. Vaikasi Koya Vaka Om Shakti Ma Vama Kali Om Om Markatate Heva Om Om Om
Thank you, Tim, for bringing Daniella on.
Yeah.
Thank you, Daniella, for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Love to you both. Dima.
Dima.
Hey, Ma, we'll be back next week. I think Tim will be our fill-in for Alan. He has lots of great guests lined up, yes?
Yeah.
All right.
Om Om Om.
Oh,
Love you guys.
love you. Bye.
Ciao, everybody. See you soon.